Real Country 1430 AM and 1073 FM WRDN. This is the WRDN Morning Farm Report. I'm Brian Winnikins from World Dairy Expo. Thank you to our World Dairy Expo sponsors, including Wisconsin Soybean Marketing Board, the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association, Farm First Dairy Cooperative, Udder Tech, also Adibus Silo Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, and Bauer Seeds and Service, your pivot bio dealers in western Wisconsin. I'm with Mike Schreiner. He is the Wisconsin Territory Manager for Pivot Bio. And this morning we're going to learn a little bit about what Pivot Bio is, farmers, if you don't know, and how we need to get ready to use it in the spring, and actually how we use it too. And Mike, again, thank you for joining us. Well, for those unfamiliar, tell us what Pivot Bio does.
Sure. So we are a microorganism that's actually gene edited to actually produce nitrogen in the ground from the air and from the soil and pull it into the corn plant. So it actually attaches to the corn root when applied in springtime, and actually it creates that nitrogen through the whole season, does not wash away or deteriorate like normal synthetic nitrogen would. So it's actually building the whole summer, and you can actually reduce your pounds by up to 40 pounds of N per acre using this product.
Okay, so, and it's always applied during the spring, so we know that first. So obviously we're taking corn silage right now, soybeans are coming up, we're going to be taking corn for grain off this fall. What do we need to do this fall to get ready to use Pivot Bio in spring?
Yeah, sure. So the biggest thing in fall is actually decomposing the corn stalks that are there for the residue left over and breaking it down, because it's actually useful fertilizer in those corn stalks that could be used in spring by our microbes. And then also taking a soil test in fall to see what you actually have to put down in spring, because you don't want to apply more than you have, because right now the price of fertilizer is so high. If we can eliminate that cost there too, that'll help you by knowing what you actually have in the ground right now going into spring.
For some farmers, they do use a cover crop because they want to hold the soil in over the winter time. Is this also something that we can use Pivot Bio with, or it's compatible to have this cover crop in during the fall?
Yeah, so like in fall, the only thing you could use it on would actually be like the wheat. So if you use like the wheat you want to harvest in summertime, you plant in fall. You can actually use it now to actually get more bushel, and actually it'll stay greener longer in the fall, and actually it'll take off a little bit faster too. So you actually have a head start for springtime, which could result in you harvesting a little bit earlier too. And like I said, we're getting 2 to 3 bushel more per acre just off using the product, and using up less fertilizer too.
Talking with Mike Schreiner. He's the Wisconsin Territory Manager for Pivot Bio. Again, Bauer Seeds and Services, your Pivot Bio dealer in western Wisconsin. Okay, so we've gotten to springtime, and at Brian's farm, we're going to get ready to roll the planters. Now, do I have to do anything first before I roll the planters with Pivot Bio, or can I do that after the planters with Pivot Bio?
Nope, so you can work up like normally would. This product actually goes on the planter either on dosatron versus for liquid and furrow, or it can be treated like at Justin Bauer's right on a seed way ahead of time. So you can actually treat it 2 months ahead. It goes back in your Pro Box. You put it onto the planter like you normally would, and it's already there on seed. So it's actually working from day one. Once it's in the ground, it starts working that day. And then you can reduce, like I said, up to 40 pounds. Or if you want to go over top, you can actually gain bushel. So in dry corn with the new G3 product, we're actually seeing a 7 to 9 bushel gain. In corn silage, we actually took a test off last week. We're actually gaining 3 tons more per acre going over top of your regular program too. If you reduce, you're still going to see a 1.5 ton difference just by reducing plus gaining that. So you can fill your bunker up better. You're going to have more high digestible matter protein in there and more starch levels too. So you have a high quality feed and more tonnage.
So if I go to Justin, okay, let's say for my farm, for some reason, I don't have it on the seed. When, after planting, then, would I apply this?
So you'd actually apply it still on the planter. So we can set you up with a dosatron system that we put on the planter. You flip a switch, and it goes in furrow right in front of the seed. If you can't do on seed, there's that option as well to a liquid form. Right now, the on seed has taken a far more advantage right now because it's a lot easier to do. It's done ahead of time. So we're actually seeing numbers shift to the on seed versus the liquid and furrow just because there's no user interface with it. You basically plant like you normally would. With the dosatron, you got to turn on a switch and make sure it's actually pumping, and you got to make sure it's cleaned out end of the year too. So it's a little more work to it, but we're still seeing good results with that too. But the on-seed is by far more superior.
And it's just one less step, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one less thing. So the grower doesn't worry about doing anything extra. Basically, they put that Pro Box on their tender into the planter like normally would, and they go plant. It's already there. It's already applied. So if they're cutting back on nitrogen, well, then that's less they got to actually have for inputs going into the farm too. We had one grower that grows 4,000 acres, and he said he actually had less. He had 5 less semi-trips he had to make with getting the synthetic nitrogen that he saved here and is already done.
5 loads, huh?
5
Wow,
loads,
that
yeah.
that that's a lot of money.
Well, he said the biggest thing is logistics. Of him going back and forth to the river to get it takes a couple days right there. Well, it's already here ahead of time, and he doesn't have to touch anything. It's already done for him.
It's something really incredible, and farmers, you're definitely going to want to talk with Justin over at Bauer Seeds and Service, and he can even come out to the farm and be able to, let's talk about what you have. Let's take a look at some fields. Let's maybe do a little testing potentially if we need to, if you haven't done that in a while. And you might be able to save some money here on inputs next year. And the other big thing is because this doesn't leach, and of course, Mike, you may know in western Wisconsin we have some of the groundwater nitrate issues. This is a way to maybe help reduce some of those problems.
Yeah, correct. It's going to stay with that plant the whole time. It's not going to run away from the water. It's not going to, even like the dry conditions, it's still there working. It doesn't matter what kind of weather we're having. It's always going to be there working for you. And for this year, we actually reduced our price because we know that there's tough economy right now in the farm industry. So we actually reduced it from 34 down to 21.75 starting with, and there's incentives actually on that too to actually get it even cheaper than that, which is actually will be priced way below synthetic nitrogen. So actually going to have a cheaper 40 pounds versus the man-made stuff too. And this is all natural, microbes too that we gene edited to actually stay with the plant, not go away from the plant either, and pull more of that product into it.
So again, farmers, visit or get a hold of Justin over at Bauer Seeds and Service. Find out how Pivot Bio can help with your farm operation. From World Dairy Expo, I'm Brian Winnikins. This is the WRDN Morning Farm Report.